Hello, and welcome to Preparing to Work with Michelle LaQuinn. Um, so some of us have been out of the loop and out of the job field or the workforce for some time, and we need to know where to start and what should we be doing, where do we begin, you know, tons and tons and tons of questions. I get them all the time, and it's some of my participants or some of my clients, they have insecurities about what's on their resume, more so what's not on their resume, things like that, the lack of experience, the amount of work that they've been out of the field, what do they need in order to get back into the workforce. Also, I have participants and clients who have never been in the workforce, so they don't even know where to start. So there's so much preparation to do, just depending on where you are, where are you, when it comes to looking for a job and preparing for work. Are you a single parent, or do you have a partner? Can you and your partner both afford to be away from the house? Do you have childcare? We're going to be talking about all these things. So let us begin. All right, so we have our agenda. So we're going to be talking about our digital presence. So before you even step foot outside, you need to talk about your current digital presence. The available time that you have. What is the real time that you have available? So sometimes people think that they have all this time available to work, but in reality, they don't. So we're going to talk about that. Tying up some loose ends and networking. So you need to update your digital presence. What do I mean? Look up YouTube, put your name in there. Do you see anything? Look from a device that's not already logged into your social media. So that means you can look from your home computer, from your laptop, your Chromebook, another person's phone. Try to search yourself on Facebook. What does that look like? Because a lot of times we think that we have all of our posts private, and they're not, believe it or not. Sometimes people tag us in pictures. They might be pictures that you don't want an employer or a coworker to know that you have. Instagram, is it private, or is it open to the public? If it is open to the public, what kind of content do you have on your Instagram? That's important. Snapchat, how many pictures do you have of yourself looking like a dog? Your Pinterest. So the Pinterest is where you pin your interest. So are your Pinterest boards private? Twitter, are you going on a rampage, arguing with Kanye West on your Twitter page? Google Plus. Not really familiar with Google Plus, to be quite honest, but my kids are very well versed in it. But check that out. And your Indeed. Indeed can be helpful. So you want your Indeed to look all snazzy and professional. Let's see. And Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I hired over 180 people, over my 20 years as a program developer, as a program developer. And so anyways, and I would look up not only my clients, but I would look up people that were looking for a job. I would look them up on Facebook. And let me tell you, the person that tried to walk into my office was not the person that I saw on Facebook. And so that's like something that employers look for. As I said in one of my other videos, that we find that people can hide their true little personality for 90 days through their probation period, and then all of a sudden, snap, that little personality comes out, and it really does not jive with the work environment. you know, and employers don't want to do that. You know, they don't want to have unnecessary drama in the workplace. You know, they want to come in, serve the people that they serve, do the job that they're supposed to do, and then go back home on a good conscience and, you know, be good to their people at their house and be good to people at work. So anyways, yes, we do. We look you up on Facebook. And sometimes you think that all your pictures are private and they are not. So that's that sharing quotes and things from public sites. So just because when you're able to share it, sometimes it has that the whole world thing on it. So that means the whole world can see it. But when you have it where it's just your friends, then of course just your friends see it. So is your Facebook private? How many things are public? I would scroll through all your posts and see what's public. Another thing is that YouTube, you might not think that it's relevant. However, I did a workshop here at Scare, and I had my clients look themselves up on YouTube. And one of my clients actually found a video of herself as a teenager that was uploaded onto YouTube, and it was not cute. So you might want to look that up. Another thing, Google yourself. Yes, go Google yourself. You might be surprised. I don't personally have anything about me, but you know, I've Googled some individuals, and then you can also look at images. So if you go to Google, put names in, something might come up like from your Facebook, your Instagram, or some of your social media. And then also look at images. There might be some pictures, and you can kind of hover your mouse over the image to see where that picture is posted so you can get rid of it. You know, your old MySpace account. Yeah, MySpace is still there and that's there. So yeah, all your MySpace pictures, they might be there. A negative digital footprint. So inappropriate photos or information that you may not want an employer to see, you know, because we're not just hiring a resume. You know, we know that there's a you on paper and then there's a real you in person. So how do employers weed all that out? How do we sift all that out? You know, so yeah, we do look at your digital footprint, and sometimes those footprints are really negative. So again, like with the negative photos and negative information, photos of you drinking, using drugs, supporting drug use, um, an employer might not want, you know, somebody like that in their facility, depending on, you know, what kind of establishment it is. Having negative comments about people. So, you know, we'll look at your comments and see how bad you snap back, you know, at another individual. You know, how do you behave when you're triggered, you know, and all those negative comments, we're reading them. Poorly written communication. Depending on what your job is, we want you to be able to communicate. We would love for you to communicate well. So we look at those things, you know, poorly written communication skills, discriminatory comments related to race, religion, gender. This is because that is a labor issue. So we can be pulled into a lawsuit because of some of the behavior that you're displaying, not only in the workplace, but online. So we kind of look out for that. You know, employers are not trying to look to hire people that they're going to end up with a lawsuit because, you know, we try to avoid all that. So those are some negative digital footprints that, you know, if we see those bullets, we try to dodge them. And so if you have any of these things on your social media, I would delete them, make them private, something, because those negative digital footprints will cause you to not have a job or not obtain a job or even have the opportunity to walk through the door. Again, we know that we're not hiring a resume. You know, your resume just gets you through the door. I've had friends who were employers and they would actually ask them about the information that they would see, you know, online. Well, tell me about this, you know, and that's kind of a shock. And I would never do that, but I know it's been done. Then you have positive digital footprints. And this is an employer looking at your social media and maybe your personality meets and it fits the current company culture. So like I was saying, like we don't hire a resume, we're hiring a person. And people are able to hide their little personality for the 90 days of the probationary period or whatever the probationary period is. And so with work environments, we have company culture, you know, how we run things, how we interact with each other, how we joke with each other, how casual it is, or, you know, how, you know, is it business, you know, all day long, or, you know, you have the cooler, you know, the talk at the cooler, or, you know, our coworkers, you know, having outings on the weekends, or do they meet outside of work? So, I mean, there's a whole company culture. You know, some companies have like just little cliques here and there and whatnot. But you want to make sure that the person that you're bringing in and bringing into the company fits your culture, your company culture. And that, you know, they're going to be, that you feel that they're going to jive well and just blend right in. Your background information supports professional qualifications for the job. So just looking at your profile and the things that you post, or even your interests, that it has like some professional support and some professional qualifications. And then also too, like your friends list, or, you know, people that you interact with on your social media might be from, you know, the same profession that you're trying to get into. So, you know, I know quite a few people, you know, in a certain social work, you know, aspect in San Diego. And so when it comes to outreach and doing things like that, like, you know, a lot of my peers overlap because we're engaged in different areas of social work. And at the same time, we're also engaged in the same areas of social work. So, you know, if they see that you know the same people that they know, then that's where that networking comes into play. And believe me, the employer will ask them about you. So, I mean, that part can be positive or negative depending on you. Your public interests are well-rounded, and you demonstrate consistently great communication skills. How flexible is your schedule? Like, can you offer a 40-hour week? Are you available 8 hours out of 5 days? You know, or are you only available less than 40 hours a day for a part-time job? Do you prefer a fixed time schedule? So that's a concrete every week, it's the same. A flexible one is that like it varies. Every week your schedule varies. A rotating schedule would be that the employees have a schedule that rotates between all the employees, so that not everybody's working 9 to 6, not everyone's working 8 to 5, like you guys rotate. So some days you come in early and some days you come in late. A split shift, you might come in earlier and then leave and then come back to finish out the day. And usually the split shift is based on the company's needs. And then on call is just that you're available to work for a particular amount of hours. And then freelance or seasonal is to fulfill a project. So you need to look at the hours that you're really available. And those hours would be like giving yourself time to get dressed, giving yourself time to get from point A to point B, or to run all your errands or drop off all your children before school. What time are you done doing that? And then what time do you have in between drop off and pickup time? Do you have after school care? That can keep your children a little bit longer, which would allow you time to not only get off of work, but actually have time for transportation and driving from point A to point B, point A being your job and point B being the childcare place. So it's just like you have to factor in travel time when you're trying to tell somebody what's your availability. You want to tidy any loose ends. So that would be like your car, like, is it reliable? If it's not reliable, what are the different, how can you get there by bus? Is it possible for you to ride a bike there? Is it possible for you to take the trolley there? Is it walkable distance? When it comes to your car, and also all these modes of transportation, how long is it going to take you to get there? And is it reasonable time? Does it cut into your available time? So like if you're only available to work 4 hours a day, but then your travel time is 2 hours, which might cut your work hours down to 3 hours, then you're not really available 20 hours a day. You're really available, 20 hours a week. You're only available really 15 hours a week. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you have to factor in all these things, your transportation, your travel time. And you can always MapQuest your place, where you live, your residence, to your place of employment or the place that you're going to apply to, and then see how long it takes to get there. Because in trying to figure that out, you might not want to apply for that job anyway because it's too far. You see what I'm saying? So, those are some things that you have to keep in mind. Another thing is childcare. Where are your children going to be? Do you have them at home with a friend? Do you have them at child care center? What is your backup for childcare? Because usually, people don't want to leave work or call out, like especially if they're first starting a job, and you're supposed to be putting your best foot forward. You don't want to be that person who calls in every couple of days. You're calling in, and it's childcare. And it's like, girl, like, get it together, find some reliable childcare. This can't be your excuse for everything. So that childcare needs to be established before you start looking for a job. Seeing the doctor and doctor's appointments. So I know young children, they need to see the doctor more often for immunizations and things like that. So try to get those immunizations out of the way, and then get those physicals out the way, get your own physical out the way, because a lot of times the employers will ask for an updated physical to make sure that you don't have any restrictions that they need to be aware of, and that was not mentioned in the job interview. So preparing for job search. So I always suggest My Next Move, the ONET. It's a free online database which asks you about 60 questions. They're interest questions. They ask you, basically like your personality type. Do you like to organize things, or do you like to create pottery? I don't know, just random. They're really random questions. They'll go like far left and far right, but at the end of the day, they give you some results, and those results will tell you like what careers are a best fit for you, what careers may not be the best for you, and so it gives you like a whole list of job opportunities that you might want to look into. Also, you can go on this website and just look up careers in general, and then it'll tell you other names that might be related to that career and the schooling necessary in order to obtain that job. So, for example, here we have the pest control worker. So it also gives you other names that you can put into your search, especially when you're searching on places like on Indeed or things like that. And you can put these into the search. Also gives you a video to understand like what that career is, the knowledge that you will need to have or obtain, when applying for this job. So your knowledge of business, safety, and business would be customer service. Safety and government would be like public safety and security. And then the ability to speak English. A lot of this job has to do with listening and problem solving, and then understanding other people's feelings and their reactions to whatever problem's going on. It could be that like the termites are just totally destroying their house and their home. They don't know what to do. They're looking for the best price and things of that nature. We don't know what's falling apart. Maybe the floor is about to cave in. Who knows? But just understanding, your customer and what they're going through and trying to find out the best ways to help them. Also down at the bottom, you have like the personality traits for you to be practical and hands-on. Then they have other things that are soft skills like integrity, dependability, attention to detail, independence, cooperation, and stress tolerance. So those are the soft skills that are needed for being a pest control worker. How to create relevant experience. So you can reverse engineer. So find the job description of your dream job and then just work backwards. So like you look at the job description and then you just try to find ways to obtain that. Repackage it. You find links between the skills and experience that you need and then what you already have. And whatever's missing, you try to obtain that. Network, you can connect with people that are working in that field, in the field that you want to work. So then those people are your best bet to help you obtain your dream job, because they know like what experience or what schooling or the path that you need to take in order to get there. Create relevant experience. So you can do that by volunteering, studying, and working on projects. And refining it. So you work on your soft skills and then you have your own personal brand. And you're branding yourself. Not literally. So most recommended certifications are foreign language. And you might want to look to see what foreign language are most common in your area. Not everybody speaks English, but it's really interesting how you go to other countries and they speak English, But anyway, so just looking into what other languages that might be spoken around your area or in the areas that you want to work in, and just get a certification in that. Computer software, they're always being updated, so just making sure that you have a certification in the most recent software. CPR and first aid. So with CPR and first aid, when you're looking for employment where you are taking care of other people, seniors, and children, they will require you to have CPR and first aid. Leadership certifications, if you're looking down the road and you know that eventually you're going to want a leadership position, you might as well get yourself in position as soon as possible, right when you walk out the gate. So having a certification in leadership, it makes you a candidate. You become a candidate for a leadership position. A lot of times when you have that certification in leadership, It's just gaining that experience is the next step. The next step is gaining experience. Project management, employers like to see that, especially if you have a certification in it. Project management a lot of time goes to the most senior of the company, just because they know how the projects are supposed to go, what they're supposed to look like. But not everybody is good at being a project manager. Being a project manager means that you're able to rally the group together and to work together on a project and creating a vision of that common goal. Just because they're the senior, or just because they might have, the most education, does not mean that they're project management material. So having a certification in project management also makes you a contender. Trade certification, I always give construction as an example when it comes to this, just because it's so drastic, the jobs or the tasks between a laborer and a journeyman. So it's kind of like the laborer is just there, picking up nails, cleaning, sweeping up their mess, and then the journeyman is just there yelling at everybody, telling them what to do. But yeah, and then also too with then the unions, the labor unions, the electrician unions, the plumbers union, all those unions, they have a ladder, of different skills and certifications in classes that they need to have and take, and those things will allow them to earn more money, and then also they're able to move in positions within their field. But it's not just construction, it's also too in child development. So you have people or teachers that have 6 units, which is basically 2 classes, and then they can be a teacher's aide in a preschool, and then they have a teacher's aide certificate. But then you have an associate teacher, which is 4 classes in child development. But then it's someone who has those 4 classes plus general ed, they become a teacher. But you see what I'm saying? So it's just you could just stop at being a teacher's aide, and just be, fine and dandy with that. But if you're somebody who's trying to be a preschool site supervisor, then, of course, you're going to need more education along with more experience. So in the child development field, they don't just require that you take these classes, but then you also have to have a certain amount of hours working with children. And then someone like a teacher, because they're watching over or supervising an aide, they have to have, a certain amount of hours of supervising adults because they're supervising their aide students. So that. So trade certification, those vary, and then of course you want certification so that you can get higher pay and maybe achieve the position that you were looking for. Networking. We network all the time. We network all the time. And a lot of times we don't even know that we're networking, but we're networking. And it could work for you and it could work against you, because if you were, let's say, out, at an event and you were just, obnoxious, and then you go to have an interview or you put in your resume and then someone remembers you and you're just being obnoxious, it is not going to go in your favor. I know that girl, and no, she cannot work here. Or, it can work in your favor, oh, I know him and he's a really nice guy, and you should interview him. We network all the time. Like I said, anytime you're having a conversation with anyone else, it does not have to be job related or work related. We're always networking, and like I said before, we're not just hiring resumes, we're hiring people and personalities. So anywhere that you are sharing your snazzy personality, you are networking. So this can be at a barbecue with family and friends. You may not be working the room, but you will hear the conversation. So what do you do? You know, what kind of work are you in? What are you going to school for? What do you want to be when you finish school? You're unemployed, but you're looking for a job. What kind of job are you looking for? All these questions, it depends on what your environment is, but if it's a family gathering, of course, they're asking, and when you're with your friends, they're asking, you know, you're networking over a cup of coffee, you know, you're sharing, you know, what your struggles are, and, you know, that you're looking for a job and what kind of field you're looking for a job in. You could be networking at conferences. You know, your next job can come from a conference. You go to a conference, you meet someone from a company, and then they're hiring, and then you know, like, oh, I talked to so and so from that company. I'm gonna put my resume in, you know, and then that person's able to give a good word for you. Also, too, like when we have these Zoom conferences or these Zoom meetings, sometimes you're networking there. Depending on what the meeting is about, sometimes the facilitator will allow time to give you warm-up questions, just to have people feel comfortable in sharing about themselves. So yeah, we're networking, and we're networking all the time. And networking is great because you can find your next job from networking. A friend can help you obtain a job by, you know, just expressing that you're looking for one. Somebody might overhear that, hey, Jill, she's looking for a job, you know, or, oh, I have a position at my job that I need to fill. Do you know anyone? And then someone that you had spoke to 2 weeks ago, you know, gives you a call and tells you to apply for a job. So, I mean, like I said, we're networking all the time. And the benefits of networking is making professional connections. You're creating more career opportunities for yourself. It provides an opportunity to exchange advice, information, leads, and referrals. You can also find inspiration. So if someone's has a job that you were interested in, and that you would really like to do, they can give you inspiration to go back to school, or even inspiration to even, you know, to apply, you know, because sometimes we're a little shy, and don't know like whether or not we can do it, and we have like all these thoughts, but you know, it only takes that one person that inspires you to just get out there. So you can find inspiration from networking. Also, to improve and develop your skill set. So for those who have been out of the loop for a while, you know, networking and talking to people who are in that field, um, and they could tell you, guide you to where, you know, where you need to be for this time. So there's a lot of things where it used to be just in person all the time, but now they might be offering like virtual options, you know, and that's another skill set that you need to have. Like, do you have a camera on your Chromebook? Do you have access to Wi-Fi? You see what I'm saying? That's a whole nother like can of worms that you need to make sure that you have. But networking lets you know, like, hey, this is what you're getting into. These are the things that you need to have. Also, a benefit to networking, it allows you to remain current with the latest professional trends. So a lot of some programs are no longer the same. You know, if you used to work with CACFP, which is basically a California food program for foster youth and adults living in facilities, you know, they do things a lot differently now. So, you know, things like that. Like before, they would come to your facility and do all these audits, but now they created a portal and you're supposed to upload all these documents, but you need to know how to upload, you know, things like that. So, or things that used to be on paper are now digital, you know, in the profession that you used to be in prior to COVID. So there's a lot of changes that because of COVID, they happened. And then there are changes just because it needed to happen, you know, because they were outdated. So those changes happened. So that's the benefit of networking and being around people that are in the field, the career field that you want to be in, and just just keeping that inspiration around. And just because you don't have all this experience on your resume, don't knock your soft skills. So like your ability to communicate, like, are you self-motivated? Do you have self-motivation? Your leadership skills, are you a responsible person? Do you like to work as a team? Problem solving, being decisive, your ability to work under pressure and time management, your flexibility. Are you a palm tree that sways in the wind, or are you like a rigid tree, a pine tree that just cracks every time there's a change? And then your ability to negotiate and find resolutions to conflict. So those skills, they're useful, in the workplace. So we don't knock them, because we want our workplace to go as smoothly as possible. So the benefits of soft skills are the improvement of employee engagement, a more pleasant work environment, because if you're working a full-time job, you're here more than you are at home. There's more productivity. The work is more efficient because people are able to pay attention to detail instead of paying attention to all the drama in the workplace. There's less conflict, less stress, less confusion. We're able to offer better customer service because we're focused on the people that we serve. And then also for retail employers, like, there's more profit. People want to come back to a place that's a nice place, that gives the feels and makes you feel comfortable. So I would like to thank you for spending your time on preparing to work and preparing for the workforce. My name is Michelle O'Quinn. I'm the job developer here. My email is michelle@sierrainc.org. Phone number here is 619-328-0676. And I look forward to working with you. Have a wonderful day.